Hey lovelies, thanks for stopping by today. We are going to be spending some time talking about the Kaleidos Club Nebula palette. This is my very first Kaleidos. Somebody hit me up and let me know exactly how you pronounce this. But this is my first Kaleidos purchase. I have been wanting to try the brand. I did actually share in my brands I want to try in 2021, or my beauty brands, my beauty wish list, whatever I named that video. I talked about this company. I have twice now added to cart and not bought anything. And then when this palette was coming out, I really just fell in love with the colors here. I think that you have such a variety of tones, you have a variety of finishes. I was very excited to get my hands on this one. So this is gonna be what we're chatting about today. I will also be sharing with you 3 looks that I've created, this one and 2 others, so we will get into that as well. We'll do some swatches, I'll give you the pros and cons, all of my thoughts. That is one nice thing about taking some time to really play with this, is I've really been able to like get a feel for what I like. Am I going to want to purchase from this brand in the future? Do I think that this was worth it? We'll get into all of that. Now, if we haven't met before, my name is Kelly and I'm a professional hair and makeup artist. And here on my channel, I strive to keep beauty real. Real honest, real relatable, and real fun. So if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, don't forget to hit subscribe, click that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. Now, let's get into all the deets. So as I am filming this video, it is the 16th of February and there is a limited restock tomorrow, the 17th at 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 11 p.m. you guys. So if this is something that you didn't get, you want to get your hands on, make sure that you have your alarm set. If it is something that you already have and you were looking for some inspiration, I hope maybe the looks that I did will help you out. I wanted to be able to give you guys a really detailed review, show you all of the colors. I used every single color in this palette within the 3 looks. So I feel like I've gotten a taste for everything and we'll talk about all of that as we go through. Now, let's talk about the shipping experience, all of that. I have to say, this brand really packages their products very well. It came in bag with one of those like mega air bubble sealers in it. So that was really nice. I was actually surprised that my palette came also in this custom shipper, this large shipper. It's actually listed for $8 on the site. So I figured that it wasn't going to come in this. I had it upside down. It looks like this. So the palette came nestled very nicely inside here. It's got this really nice like foam. It had a foam cover over the top as well. So it was packaged very well, which I appreciate, especially since my mailman is kind of a Neanderthal and usually thinks that you can shove just about anything into my mailbox. So this came with the palette packaged inside this box. This card also tells you how to tag the brand, how to tag also Angelica Nyqvist. By the way, I just realized I didn't mention that this is in collaboration with her. I'm so sorry. So yes, this is in collaboration with Angie. And I think that this is so her. It's that like bright pop of color, like those beautiful like jewel tones. So she did a great job on picking the shades in this. I do also love, like, you guys aren't even gonna be able to see this, but this is the card that came as protecting the shadow. So I have all of this tucked in here for you. Of course, I popped all of this out as I was playing with the palette. I am not very good about saving the little palette cards. I just find that there's something that slips out and pisses me off, in all honesty. So I usually do not keep those. Now, I thought that this presentation is so beautiful. I did, though, feel like it's very excessive. Like, while I think this is super beautiful and I appreciate that it honestly did probably keep my palette even more protected, it's just so wasteful. This is so much cardboard. Like, I don't know what do I do with this now? Like, I just don't know. Like, I might see if Jeremy has some things that he wants to tuck in here. Like, this could be a good little box to keep on his dresser or something. I mean, this is super cool. It's just, it's a lot. And I wish that I had had the option of not getting this, if that makes sense, because I probably wouldn't have. And if they were like, hey, if you don't want the custom shipper, we'll send it to you for 40 bucks, I probably would have done that. So that's just one little thing for me. I do really appreciate the palette, but it's like between the box, the package, and then this, it's just like, this is a lot of cardboard. Now, speaking of the palette, I do think that it's a cardboard palette, but it is very nice and sturdy. I think that, I mean, you just have that like reflective, slightly holographic print. It's so cool. I will also mention that there was a themed deck of cards that you could also purchase with this collection if you chose to. I was very tempted, but we have so many decks of cards. I was like, okay, I don't need another one, but I do like that you have a very nice size mirror. There's all my brushes. Well, not all of them, the few that I have that aren't dirty right now. And I just really like the aesthetic of this. It has a really nice closure. It has a strong magnet. I'm very happy with this. Like I said, this is my very first Kaleidos purchase. I think just based on the packaging and the aesthetic, they do such a good job. That is one thing, like they kill it with the aesthetic. It's just so like funky. I love the vibe. It's very different and you know, it just really speaks for itself. Oh, hold up. I just realized that evidently the shipper that I just showed you is the small shipper. There must be a larger shipper that is the one that's $8 because it says that every order including the Club Nebula palette will receive a small custom shipper for free. Every large order including the Club Nebula palette will receive a large custom shipper for free. So I'm assuming like if you purchase more things, you will end up getting the large one. So there you go. So the key features that Kaleidos says is it's multi-chromatic and texturally diverse, ultra pigmented, easy blending, deep hued mattes, highly versatile and intuitive to use, soft and creamy, yet highly adhesive, no creasing, vegan and cruelty free. So now, why don't we get into some swatches? I don't know why I wore a light colored sweater when I'm gonna be doing swatches of a jewel toned palette. What is my problem? I'm gonna risk it for you guys, so let's get right into this. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on this, so I'm probably just gonna do a little voiceover. I'm sure by now you've all seen some swatches, but if it helps you to see it on my skin tone, I thought I would go ahead and do that. So I'll probably just voice this over quick and run through these, and then we will get into the looks, and then I'll give you guys my final thoughts. So here is just a quick look at the swatches. On the right hand of your screen is the top of the palette, and then we're working our way through the rows. Again, I don't want to spend too much time on swatches because I know there are a million of them out there. This is just with a little bit more indirect light. I thought that it showed the shift of the shades a little bit more and gives you a really true look at what these colors will look like when they're used. So pretty. Okay, so hopefully my mediocre swatches helped you guys out. Like I said, I know that 1,000,001 people have done footage featuring swatches of this, so that wasn't my main focus on this. I just really wanted to give you guys my opinion, my thoughts, and then maybe inspire those of you that either have it or don't have it yet to, you know, kind of know some ways that you could use this. So looking at this palette, and just right away, a couple of the shades that got me very excited. Now, I love a good like peachy, shifty moment. This is the shade Celestial. Now I do feel like my Divina Shadow in Tucana is sort of similar to this. I was actually looking at getting the Sashimi City palette from Kaleidos when that one was out, based on that like candy ginger or sweet ginger shade. And when Divina, I saw somebody like swatch comparison and Tucana looked so close, and I love Divina formula, so I did get that one. So I feel like this is similar-ish, but I'm still grateful to have this in the palette. I love the fact that you obviously have some beautiful multi-chrome, like shifty shades. You also have these beautiful jewel tones. They're so pretty. Like, I was very drawn to Red Giant. I think that that looks so rich. Even like this teal, this blue, like when I did my Nailed It look, the rainbow look, I realized that I don't actually have that many teals and blues in my collection anymore, and I was happy to get something that has those. I mean, obviously like this freaking neon green, oh my God, this shade, like I think everybody is going crazy with that, and I actually wanted to try to like push myself and use colors that I wouldn't normally steer towards. Like this green shade I was drawn to right away. I know a lot of people have done looks like really featuring that shade. In all honesty, I was trying to push myself to do something different and to also try to do something out of the expected, I guess. And I learned a lot about myself, and I learned a lot about these shadows. So why don't we just go ahead and get into these looks. You can see what I used, the 3 looks that I did. I tried to do something a little bit softer, if you will, this look here. I tried to do something more bold and like, you know, more smoky. And then I wanted to do something where it was just like, just go extra. Go as big as you can, use as many colors as you can, and just have fun with it. And I really did. I got a little scared, but I did end up having fun. So we'll get into those right now, and then I'll give you guys my final thoughts. So for this first look, I really just wanted something very soft and ethereal, but still fun. So I started off blending Samus into the crease. I really like this peachy orange shade. I think it's gonna be one that I grab for a lot. And really, I just blew that out into the crease with a fluffy brush. Then going through with Nebula. So this one, I have to be honest, I struggled with a little bit. I first tried packing it on with a dry brush. Here I went through and I was wetting it with some setting spray. I actually was just using the Ciate Vacay All Day, and I just kept trying to pack it on, and I wasn't getting the color impact that I was expecting. It is a bit sheer. So then for the inner lid, I decided to try using some glitter glue. So that's what I'm doing here, just packing that on, and then adding the shade Celestial. So this is that really pretty shade that I thought would be similar to Tucana from Divina. Again, I just feel like I didn't get the color impact that I was expecting. Yeah, you can see I'm a little disappointed. I guess I just expected more from these shades. And now looking back at the swatches, you can see that they're going to be more sheer. They don't have a lot of color to them. I'm just taking some setting spray now and trying to wet my brush to load this on the top. It's in the Tarte Stay spray bottle, but it's actually Ciate Vacay All Day setting spray. I just like the sprayer on this bottle better. So you can see I am packing this on. I had one chunk that just like landed right on my eyelash, but we just kicked that off and kept on going. So at the end of the day, I like the way that these turned out, but I did really have to build it. The sheerness of the base I wasn't quite expecting, so in the future I will definitely lay down a different shade first, but I did think it came out looking light and pretty. All right, so now we're gonna move into Firefly, and this shade was like wham right off the bat. It has a bit more base to it. It's that beautiful like limey pink. It's lime green with some pink shift. So this I just threw on with a dry pencil brush and it worked out great. Now going into Gravity. So I love this shade, but the reason I had that face was like, oh, is this gonna like clash with my outfit? I think in general I would love that lime green underneath, but I just felt like with my earrings and everything, I was like, oh, I feel like I want it to be a bit more seafoamy, but you can see what it would have looked like if I had kept it. I did decide to go through with a bit of 7 of 9. I think that this turned out really pretty. It just bumped it into like a limey seafoam, like a little bit more electric seafoam. I think this look turned out really pretty. I did have to work with it a bit. It should have been the easiest look, but it was the one that I struggled with the most. So now moving into the second look. This is going through with Naru in the crease. Now this was actually the first time I played with this palette, so all bets are off. This was all new to me. I hadn't even swatched the full palette. You can see that this is, on me, this really comes up as like a hazy purple shade. Now I was so excited to go into Red Giant. You can see my first impressions of this shade. It's that beautiful, like, I honestly thought it was gonna be a little bit more like blood ready, but it does have a maroon, like a bit of a maroon to it. So I found that blending it into that Naru almost made it go a bit purple. So I did just pack it onto the lid and then used a dry fluffy brush to just blend that into the crease. I was really just looking for something like smoky yet colorful. Now tapping Firefly onto the lid. I'm sorry I don't have the shot showing this, but it is again that green shade. I just thought that the contrast would be really pretty with these, and I was not disappointed. I love it. I just packed it on with my finger and then blended the edges in with a synthetic brush. I love the way that this one turned out. It really got me excited and inspired to play with contrasting colors more. I do think that my favorite way to use these multichromes is going to be to layer them over the top of other shades. Now we're going to take Cylon on that lower lash line, and I'm really just looking to like get that smoky, sexy, kind of edgy look. I just honestly kept building this and smoking it out using the Wayne Goss pencil brush. This is like one of my favorites. I am just working this in and building that shape into the outer corner. This turned out so fun. I love it because it's colorful, but deep and rich. Oh, so good. I am definitely looking forward to playing with Red Giant more. And here we have our second look. It's so pretty. I thought it was going to be a little bit more red with that Red Giant shade. So now we're working into our third look. This was the one that I said I was really just trying to challenge myself with. So I'm realizing that I use Firefly in all 3 of these looks. So I'm definitely going to reach for this one, evidently. This is going all over the lid, and I got these little like rubber kind of like silicone applicators on Amazon. It was my first time using them. I'm not quite sure yet. Then I decided to try using my finger. No, not for me. So now, once I got that packed on with that silicone applicator, I'm just taking a brush and trying to pack on a little bit more and blend that up and into the crease. Now, I did go pretty high with this color, and I do sort of wish I hadn't gone up as high, because once I put the mattes on, I did decide to do a much more bold look with the mattes, and it definitely did get some shimmer into the matte, and it just wasn't quite as rich. But I did make it work. It turned out beautiful. It's just that the shimmer from the underneath tone took away a bit of that depth and richness from those jewel toned mattes. Now going through with Cylon and the Sigma E36 brush. You guys know that I love this brush because it's tiny, yet still fluffy enough to get a beautiful blend. I'm looking to just start working in that crease. I wasn't sure where I wanted to go, so I thought this would be a good start. So I'm literally just like building, buffing, stepping back, building, buffing, stepping back. Now I decided to go through with Rock Hopper above that Cylon shade to really try to like smoke out that inner corner to get a bit more dramatic effect. I don't usually put dark as far in on, like almost onto the bridge of my nose, but I wanted something a little bit more extreme. Now I'm going through with the shade Void. I must not have a clip of that, but that is that beautiful dark blue shade. Oh, this color is gorgeous. It's just that beautiful like sapphire color. I did buff and blur these deeper tones out pretty well, but you could certainly take a flat shader brush and pack this on and get some major intensity. All of these jewel tones are super rich. So here I just kind of keep building the shape. I'll be honest, I got to a point where I was kind of regretting my life choices, but I just kept going and trusting the process. So here I'm like, okay, what to do? So now I'm going through with You're My Only Hope. It's that shimmery lilac, just pressing a bit of that onto my outer corner, and then going through with the shade Nova. And this is what I chose for my inner corner highlight. This color is super pretty. Taking some 7 of 9 to blur out and smoke out that lower lash line. I love this color. This is probably one of my favorites in the palette. I think it just goes well with a lot of the shades in here, just connecting it to that upper shape. Now, I did end up going through and correcting this shape a couple times. You'll see one of them here. I'm going through and I'm going to use a damp Q-tip. I just used some Bioderma with a pointed Q-tip. And this refinement is really what saved this look. There was a point where I just wasn't sure what I was doing. You can see me talking and I was Marco Poloing with a couple of my friends here on YouTube, just kind of like, I feel like a clown. But once I did the refinement and put some liner and lashes on, I fell in love with this look. I think it's so pretty, bold, yet, you know, still glam. So I'm so glad I pushed myself out of my box. All right, I hope you had fun getting to see those looks. Maybe they're helpful to you. Maybe it sort of inspired you. You know, maybe it helped you decide whether or not you want to try to snag this in the restock. I have to say, you know, there really wasn't a single color in here that I thought that I wouldn't enjoy. The one shade that, I mean, I don't want to say I'm disappointed in it, but that I'm maybe a little bit surprised with is this Naru shade. So this definitely has that, it's like a taupey neutral in the pan, but I feel like, and part of it is, part of it is because these mattes are definitely on the softer, creamy side, which I actually really appreciate, but that does mean you get a little bit more kick up. As I was saying, because I am more on the neutral to warm side, anything that is even slightly cool is going to look very cool on me. So you guys can see here, that's that Naru shade blended out. It looks downright purple. It's like gray purple. So the only other like neutral-ish shade, it's not even neutral, it's super warm, is Samus. And that's that like really peach shade. So there really isn't anything that's like dead on neutral. Now, of course, you can pull out another palette if you want to use neutrals. That can totally happen. I'm gonna swatch Rock Hopper as well. I know I've already swatched these, but just to kind of talk about these. So when we look at these shades, these are, you know, the lightest of the transitional shades, if you will. So this is that Naru, and then we have Samus and Rock Hopper. So they are not the same at all, but I feel like these two here are similar enough to where I wish that they were a little bit further apart from each other. I wish that this one was just a bit more neutral, more like, let me pull out a shade. Okay, so I've got out the Lorac Pro palette here. So I wish that there was just like one that was a little bit more more neutral. Like just give me one. And this one is, I would say, still a bit on the cooler side. This is light brown from the Lorac Pro 2 palette. Can you see that there? Like, I think that that would have been good, because then you still could have like mixed these two together to get a shade that's similar to that. You know what? I'm gonna try to do that. Let's see if I mix light brown from the Lorac Pro with a bit of Rock Hopper. So let's go ahead and just like dip back and forth between these two a bit. And then I'm gonna blend that out. Okay, so check this out. This shade right here is Rock Hopper blended with the light brown from the Lorac Pro 2 palette. So see what I mean? You could have, I mean, this is pretty close to this one. So you very well could have made this by mixing those two shades. Like, I think if I just put a little bit more Rock Hopper in here, we would have been pretty darn close to that shade. So that's what I'm saying. You know, I think you would have just had a little bit more versatility for the person that maybe quickly one day wants to take one of these fun shimmers and then just like blend it into the crease with, you know, something that's a little more neutral. It would have been nice to have that option. I think a shade like this would have been nice because you could still use it with basically everything in this palette. That being said, that's a small thing, but that would be my one bone of contention in here. The other thing is, when you use a finger to swatch these multi-chrome, like semi-flaky shades, they look so pretty. You guys saw in the swatches, they go on really, really like creamy, smooth. I struggled quite a bit. And I don't know if you can tell, like when I was trying to pack on both the Nebula and the Celestial shades. So first I tried just naked, like with nothing underneath. I mean, I still had my regular eye primer on. For all of these looks, I used the Urban Decay Primer Potion in Eden. So first I just tried that, and it just kind of like dusted away. So then I would wet my brush. That was a little bit better, but I felt like it was giving me more texture, like I've talked about, that like fish scaly or alligator skin feel. So then I tried using glitter glue, and that's what I did on the inner corner here with the Celestial shade, that kind of like pinky shift shade. So I used glitter glue and then tried to pack over the top. And it was okay, but it was still quite translucent. So then I wet my brush and then tried to pack it over the glitter glue. That worked pretty well. It just wasn't like, whoa. So I think for me in the future, I will probably put these over, like the first look that I did was the really like dark smoky one, the Halo Eye. I loved when I put down a color and then tapped these shades over the top. So I have a feeling that's gonna be the way that I really enjoy using them, other than the ones that I just use for like an inner corner where I'm okay with it being a bit more translucent. So I feel like I'm going to either want to put a dark shadow underneath or put down a like base color, like an eyeliner or, you know, a shadow stick of some sort to give it a little bit more base color. That's not necessarily bad, it just means that it takes a little bit more time. The thing that I am so surprised that I fell in love with is the matte formula. Like, these jewel tones are so beautiful. I love that they didn't blend away into like dusty, murky tones. They stayed very pretty. I do want to play with Red Giant a bit more. I know I talked about that in the look that I did with this one, because I was surprised how purple it turned, but I think honestly that's just because I had blended it into Rock Hopper. So I just wanted to get this review up, you know, in a timely fashion so that you guys could see it before the restock, but I definitely want to play with that shade a little bit more, see the potential of it like on its own or blended with warmer tones to make sure that it really has that more like rich, like bloody color to it. It just looks so pretty and I really want to use it more. So I will definitely make sure to do a look, pop it up on Instagram. By the way, if you aren't following me, please head over there. It's Keep Beauty Real and you can check that out and we'll keep updated with each other. So that is kind of my thoughts. Now for $45, I think that this palette is well worth it. I have truly enjoyed it. It's been inspiring me. I've had a lot of fun with it. And honestly, that's all I can ask for. I have really been in a rut as far as looking at makeup purchases. Like even when I've been wanting to purchase something, like I'm like, okay, you know, I've got like a horde of Ulta points to spend, or I right now have a Sephora VIB Rouge gift card to use. And I just keep looking and I'm like, So you guys know, if you have been following me here on my channel for a while, I've been super into indie makeup. This is no exception. Do I see myself buying more from Kaleidos? absolutely, 100%. I've had my eye on the highlighters. Is it Mars Melter? That's the one that was reformulated, I think. So I've had my eye on that reformulated baby. I can see the next time they're having a sale, or if there's something that they launch that I really want to get my hands on, I could definitely see snagging that. So I have had a lot of fun with this. Now, who do I recommend this palette for? A color lover, obviously. Like that's number one, hands down it. Someone who really enjoys creamy jewel tones. You know, if you like a drier matte formula, I don't think that you're going to enjoy this. These definitely have that silkier, more buttery consistency. And I know that that sounds like, well, who wouldn't enjoy that? But it really depends on what type of a formula you like. And I know that some people just prefer something that's a bit hard, a bit more hard packed, because they tend to like get in there a little bit more into their like palettes, and these will create a bit more kick up. I also think that you want to be someone that's a little bit more used to working with slightly flaky formulas, or be someone who's going to be willing to put in the time to learn how to use it, because I feel like I'm somewhere in the middle, because I feel like a lot of those formulas have been from indie brands, and since this has been like the year of indie for me, I'm in that like mid-range of where I've had a lot of time to practice at this point, but not as much as some people. And I still had a little bit of struggle. So I would say, like, just be aware that you might need to work with these a little bit more. These aren't going to be like a creamy metallic that you put on your lid. And that is, I guess, one thing. The only one that I would even consider a little bit more of like a traditional metallic formula is this Astro shade. And now that I'm thinking of it, I hope that I did put Astro in my one look, because this is the one that maybe I didn't use, but I think I did. When I do the voiceover, I guess I'll find out. But that's the only one that I would consider like a regular metallic formula. Yeah, I mean, this You're My Only Hope, this purple one, it has a bit more of a like creamy metallic finish as well, but the rest of these definitely have that bit more like, a little bit more like flakier consistency to them. I don't know. Like, I just found that when I was trying to pick it up with my brush, I tried using a flat shader brush, and sometimes they almost felt like hard panned. Like I had to like dig in a little bit. So that's one thing. I think that you might have to play with this a bit more. That could just be me. Maybe I'm just like riding the struggle bus for no reason. If I did something wrong, or if you think that there's something that I need to do to help myself more, please let me know in the comments. I really do appreciate learning from all of you as well. I know that we have a lot of multi-chrome users out there, so if you can drop some knowledge on us, I would love that. So at the end of the day, do I recommend this palette? Absolutely, yes. I think that the price is right on par. I think that it's at a good price point. I think that if you were looking to have some bright colors, some rich jewel tones in your life, this is a great way to do it. I've really been having a lot of fun with this. I can't wait to keep using it. I am going to try to like set it to the side for a little bit now that I've played with it pretty consistently. I'm going to try to give some of my other palettes love, but I know I will be coming back to this one. I think that it's very versatile as far as, you know, like when I will be using it. First of all, I don't think that there's any time that something is like inappropriate to wear, but I could see there's enough bright colors in here. It's going to be fun for spring. You can still have like beautiful smoky eyes and things when you're looking for a little bit more drama. So this one's going to get a lot of use. All right, guys, that is it. I hope you did enjoy this review and the looks. Let me know which look was your favorite. I appreciate you guys taking the time to hang out with me. Let me know, did you snag this palette? Are you planning on trying to snag this palette? If you are, good luck. May the odds be ever in your favor. You know how that goes with restocks. So that's it for now, you guys. I'll see you really soon.